The eyes of Hugo Chavez looking over Caracas, but now he's dead, and the poor living there in the barrios, historically his political base, have turned against the movement he created.
Now, Senator Marco Rubio just spearheaded a bill pledging another $20 million to, quote, defend human rights, among other types of aid. Long wanting to overthrow the democratically elected socialist government, U.S. politicians are seizing the moment of unrest for regime change.
The stable and peaceful Venezuela is in the best interest of the entire hemisphere. We will be working with Colombia and other countries on the Venezuelan problem. It is a very, very horrible problem, and from a humanitarian standpoint, it is like nothing we've seen in quite a long time.
Bueno, hasta lo que sabemos nosotros protestamos porque queremos una mejor Venezuela como la de antes, como, cónchale, fíjate, bueno, hasta lo que sabemos, Cuba por lo menos es una dictadura, pues. Y nosotros no podemos vivir con unos cubanos.
Is the United States doing enough to help Venezuela?
Sí, lo está haciendo muy bien, junto con Luis Almagro, pero necesitamos ya un desenlace, necesitamos un final feliz. Queremos el apoyo internacional importante de los Estados Unidos, de Nueva York, para que nos ayuden sin cesar. Necesitamos que Estados Unidos afine
We have had in America more or less 50 armed interventions from the United States, and about 50 or more interventions, but not armed, but using another means, more sophisticated, using the media, using allies. United States doesn't have to work now unilaterally. He can use allies and come multilaterally in the name of freedom. In the name of freedom. You can use humanitarian rights for intervention. You can declare this country is not acting well with respect with the human rights of his citizens. It doesn't matter if you have Guantanamo. If you are United States and you have Guantanamo, if you intervene in a country, if you destroy Iraq, it doesn't matter, because you are strong. The important thing is that you have there the humanitarian rights to deny the principle of non-intervention, that for us is sacred. Because one thing, you have the version of the right very, very well presented by the media, the international media. And we are trying to cope with that, and we are trying to give our version in small groups, using the redes, the nets.
The nets,
yes.
social networks.
Social networks and so on. So what is happening in Venezuela? Things are very ugly. I didn't come here to tell you lies, because you cannot fight with lies. You have to fight with the truth. Very ugly, and nobody knows what is going to happen, including a civil war. Let's be clear about that.
It is the day of the armed forces in Venezuela, the anniversary of the Battle of Carabobo, which led to Venezuela's independence from Spain. Those opposing the government went all the way to a military airbase to make their voices heard.
And these groups, they target neighborhoods, they target hospitals, I don't know why they do that. More with the hospitals, this is something that repels me. Why they do that? And they target the military. And my president has had to say to the military, do not react. They come to the headquarters of the military. Some people say, but that will not be a space to debate because the opposition is not going to be there. Well, the opposition has the right to be there. Nobody's telling the opposition not to be there. In 2002, they decided not to go to elections for parliament, for the National Assembly. Of course, the elections came. The result was that the opposition was not in the assembly because they...
¿Qué es la democracia? La democracia no es un sistema a través del cual una élite enriquecida explota a la mayoría empobrecida. No, la democracia debe ser, dijo Abraham Lincoln, gobierno del pueblo, gobierno por el pueblo y gobierno para el pueblo. A eso dedico yo y dedicaré todos los días.
Amazingly, international human rights organizations like Human Rights Watch and the Committee to Protect Journalists have been silent on the attacks on journalists from the opposition and have only condemned the government for press repression. For as much as Venezuela's poor is used as the basis of the international media campaign to oust the government, the poor people from the barrios of Venezuela are not the ones protesting. The marches and violent guarimbas are concentrated in only a few states, where the middle and upper class areas are, most of them run by opposition governors or mayors. And the targets of the protesters speak volumes about the nature of the opposition. Factories, public transportation, Socialist Party offices, hospitals, and clinics have all been attacked. Even the childhood home of Chavez was set on fire.
It says, okay, sovereignty lies in the people. Sovereignty lies in the people. The people has the right to change everything, to do everything because it's the sovereign, okay? To call for a new assembly, a constituent assembly, to change the law of the land. It cannot change it for bad. It can change it only for good.
Ironically, even though protesters use food shortages as one of their main grievances, they frequently attack food distribution centers. Most recently, they burned a warehouse containing 50 tons of food intended for school children.
Into the school and having their milk and their food in the school. Of course, they don't have lunch. They have a good breakfast. Now we are thinking if taking out the breakfast and give them the lunch, because there is no money. We have a very, very difficult moment. And United States is taking advantage of that. taking advantage of that. If I come here and tell you, no, the only ones who are doing violence are the left, that's not true. The right, that's not true. There are people in the left, maybe because they are angry, maybe because whatever, but they are doing bad things. The difference is that they are not being paid. The help from abroad, and that's why your question is important. For us, it's very important that groups of people just put a communique or whatever, a declaration saying, Venezuela has the right to have their own saying, to deal with their problems. And nobody has the right to intervene.